Okay, so when you're adding line quality, you're gonna take a look and you're gonna retrace everything. So like that step said. So I'm just gonna go through with my marker and trace over every line that I did. The nice thing about this is that if you feel like you drew too many leaves, you can kind of pick and choose at this point which ones you want to keep. And anything that you don't want to keep, just don't trace. And when you erase it all, you'll be able to get rid of those. The one thing you want to be really careful of is when you do go to erase, you want to make sure that your marker is dry so that you're not smearing black marker everywhere. So that's the first step. That's pretty boring. If you have a bunch of leaves that just look like that, very boring. Not interesting to look at. All right, so let me zoom in just a little bit. All right, so what you want to do next is look at, you're going to do that throughout your whole leaf, throughout your whole drawing. And then you're going to look at each leaf individually. So pretend my whole paper is full of leaves and I'm done just like you guys. Then you're going to go in and you're going to take one leaf at a time and you're going to decide where you want it to be darker. And by darker, I mean thicker. If you are using thicker lines, it's going to stand out more. If it's thicker, it's going to jump out at us. And if it's not, then it's going to kind of stay in the background. And you want to have a little bit of both so that some leaves stand out and some don't. And that's what's going to help you with your focal point so that you can have some intentionally stand out more than the rest. So doing that, there's a couple different ways you can do it. There's really no wrong way to do it except to not do it enough. And you want to make sure that there's an example in the back and it says line quality and it's right at the end of that PowerPoint. And it gives you a bunch of ideas for how to do this. But like I said, you can use those ideas. You can use a combination of them, or you can do your own thing, that's fine. You just want to make sure you do enough. So, one thing you can do is, that I kind of tend to do, is on the underside where it's going to be darker, or where there might be a shadow in real life. Like somebody earlier asked me if you're already done, do you need to have your plant? And I would say yes, so you can kind of look at where there might be shadows that might help you with this part. Another thing that I tend to do is I tend to draw the space I'm going to fill in first, like that, and then color it in so that I can make it look like it's one smooth line. And that's just easier to kind of control. Again, you don't want your edges to be sketchy. When you're all done, you want them to be smooth, continuous, flowing lines. Nothing should look like this with your marker. Okay? That's bad. All right? So, again, sometimes a popular thing is to make it darker at the turns, the edges of the leaf. And, it's really just kind of up to you. But these are just ideas. Another thing that I like to do is when the leaves kind of bend in towards that main central vein, I like to make it thicker just where they fold in, like right here, to kind of emphasize that turn a little bit and get thinner as I get away from it. And that helps show depth a little bit more. And again, though, this is what I prefer to do when it's my drawing. When it's yours, you can just do whatever you want. Some people will make it thicker at the curves like that. And that's just an example. So that's just one leaf. That took a long time, and that was just one leaf. So it's going to take you a while. If you start the marker today, you probably should not be finishing it today. You should take your time with it. And make sure you're doing something to each leaf. You don't want any one leaf to be just straight lines and that's it. It's really, really boring. But your focal point, you want to stand out more. You want to make these changes. These changes might be a lot more drastic than what you would see on the other leaves because you're trying to make that one area stand out more than the rest. So keep that in mind as you're planning what you're going to do. When it's all dry, and I'm going to go back to my old one, when it's all dry, because I know this one's dry, then you can go through and you're going to take your eraser and erase all those pencil marks, so all you have left is that nice smooth black line, but it's really, really important that you wait until everything's dry so that you don't smear marker everywhere and wreck your drawing. Okay? So that's that.